Voice describes the relationship between the verb and the subject in a sentence. But first, we will get back to the active and passive voice. But first, we will learn about the parts of a sentence. Let me take an example. I play football. This is the sentence. The subject is I, play is the verb, and football is the object. Those are sentences that have an object can be changed into passive voice. The verbs that are transitive, what are transitive verbs, you might ask? So transitive verbs are the verbs that have an object. These type of sentences can be changed into passive voice. So for changing active and passive voice, we first need to learn about what is active voice and what is passive voice. When the doer is the subject of the sentence, it is known as active voice, and when the subject of the sentence receives the action, it is called passive voice. So this sentence is in the active voice and we can change it into the passive voice, like football. Okay, let me first write it. This sentence is in the passive voice. Football is played by me. Here we can see that I changed the sentence into active, from active to passive, right? The object in this sentence becomes the subject in the passive voice, and the subject in the active voice becomes the object in the passive voice. These two places are interchanged. There are some rules that we need to remember. For example, I changes to me, he changes to him, and she changes to her. And there are some rules like the verb also changes when we change it into the passive voice. In the simple present tense, the subject is like, this is in the simple present tense. This sentence is in the simple present tense, and the structure is subject plus verb 1 plus object, or you can say others. When we change it into the passive form, the structure becomes subject, which was the object in the active voice. Subject plus is plus verb 3. This is because this is in the singular form, but in the plural we can say am. Actually are. So now this. Plus verb 3, or the past participle form of the verb. And the object. I am writing down all the rules for present continuous, present perfect also. For present continuous, in the active voice, the structure is subject plus is are. Please tell me I'm doing it correct. Plus verb 1 ing. No, I changed my handwriting. Plus others, or you can say object. In the passive voice, this the structure is subject, which was the object in the active voice. Isam are plus being plus verb 3 by agent. For example, I am playing football, and here it becomes football is being played by me. For the present perfect tense, in the active voice the structure is subject plus has or have, has for singular and have for plural. Verb 3, object. In the passive voice, the structure becomes subject plus has or have plus been plus V3. For example, I have played football, and here it becomes football has been played by me. There is a by agent here. This is for the present tense. Next, we will come to past tense. Well, there is no passive form for present perfect continuous tense. For the simple past, in the active voice, the structure is subject plus verb 2 plus object, and the example is he played cricket. This is the subject, this is the verb, and this is the object. In the passive voice, the structure is subject plus was or were plus verb 3 plus by agent. Example is written here. Cricket was played by him. Here cricket is the subject. You see, in the active voice cricket was the object, but it becomes subject in the passive voice. Cricket was played by him. In the past progressive tense or the past continuous tense, the structure for the active voice is subject plus was or were plus verb 1 ing plus object, and the example is he was playing cricket. He is the subject, was or were, it is written was because he is in the singular form. Playing, and playing is the verb and cricket is the object. In the passive voice, the structure is subject plus was or were plus being plus verb 3 plus by agent, and the example is cricket was, wait, what, why am I used to pen down? Being played by me. Next, come to past perfect tense. Here in the active voice, the subject is subject plus had plus verb 3 plus other or object, and the example is he had played cricket. He is the subject, had, played is the verb, and cricket is the object. In the passive voice, the structure becomes subject plus had plus been plus verb 3 plus by agent, and the example is cricket had been played by me, by him, sorry. The past perfect continuous tense cannot be passivized. Next, we come to ditransitive verbs. The sentences that have one object are called monotransitive verbs, and the verbs that have two objects are called ditransitive verbs. For example, he teaches English. In this sentence, there is only one object, that is English, and the verb here, that is teaches, is a monotransitive verb. Then, let me show you an example of a ditransitive verb. In this sentence, there are two objects, us and English. So this verb is ditransitive. Us is the indirect object and English is the direct object. In a sentence having only one object or the monotransitive verb, there is only one form of passive voice. But a sentence having two objects, there can be two forms of passive voice. He teaches us English. This can be passivized as English is taught by him. But this sentence can be passivized in two ways. First, so in the first sentence we use the direct object in the passive form, and in the second sentence we use the indirect object in the passive form. English is taught to us by him and we are taught English by him. So in this video we have discussed about active and passive voice of the past and present tenses. Now let's summarize the whole video. First of all, we learnt about voice. Voice describes the relationship between the subject and the verb in a sentence. There are two types of voices, active voice and passive voice. In the active voice, the subject is the doer of the action, and in the passive voice, the subject receives the action. And we also learnt about this, which is if the sentence has only one object, then the passive voice can be formed in only one way. And if the sentence has two objects, that is called the ditransitive verb, then we can form the passive voice in two ways. Thank you.